Hi, everybody. It's Steve Tarter, another edition of Tarter Sauce. And with me today is Rockie Zeigler. Welcome, Rocky.
Thank you.
Peoria's financial planner, who, but aside from financial planning, we're going to talk about a new book you just published, 28 Things, Life Lessons from a Guy Who's Nearly Over the Hill. Now, Rocky, come on. You're not nearly over the hill, so why don't you explain that title?
So it originally started off as 38 Things, and I kind of had to dwindle it down a little bit. It was a little redundant, a few of them were, but I looked up, I'll be 38 a week from yesterday. So I looked up over the hill. Correct me if I'm wrong. I looked it up, and I thought it said it was 40 years old. So that's kind of where I came up with that. Is not there yet, but
that's wonderful news for those of us well past 40. So, well, we'll figure that one out. So you cut it down from 38 things to 28 things, and that's always a good thing to edit and be judicious about it. But what made you come up with a book? Because this isn't about financial planning.
Nothing to do with it. Yeah, okay. It's more of a like a self-help motivational type of book, I guess, is how I describe it. So. You know, over the last probably year, maybe 2 years, I've really gotten into the self-help stuff, the motivational videos on YouTube, the motivational podcasts and things like that. And I've really enjoyed it. And I just, after a while, thought maybe I have a few things to offer. And so I just, I'm the type of person, if I have an idea that I really I'm excited about, I'll just get started, and that's sort of what happened.
And you want to share it.
Yeah, I just sort of got started.
So give us, and obviously people can, where do they find the book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yep.
Isn't everything? Right.
Yeah, I know, right?
But you got 28 things. So give me an example. What are one or two of these 28 things?
Yeah. So the very first one is called, it's broken down into 4 sections, the book itself. And the first section is about things to do when life is hard or maybe it's not going so well for you. Thing number 1 is exercise. And so as I've sort of thought about how to organize this, one of the first things that came to mind was, at least in I don't know if I'm like everybody else in this regard, but you know, sometimes I've been thinner than I am, larger than I am throughout the years, you know, and so what I realized was that there's a lot of stuff that revolves around what sort of shape you're in physically. So at least for me personally, maybe not everyone's like this, but if I'm in good shape, I will tend to want to dress better, maybe get some new clothes. My self-esteem is higher. My confidence is higher. In a lot of ways, my social life will be better because I'll want to go out and do more things and see people. And vice versa, when it's not, I've noticed is a lot of times if I've put on some weight, which I have over the years, I tend not to care about how I'm dressing or what I'm doing, or even have the energy to have much of a social life. So
kind of connecting fitness, both physical and mental.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff in life that revolves around the current shape you're in, not just how not just your level of confidence, but there's a lot of stuff, and I obviously go into that in a little bit more detail in the first chapter.
What else you got?
Well, I guess a couple of my favorite ones. So thing number 5, the title of it, and it's in that first section of things to do when life is hard. Thing number 5 is somewhere there's someone on their deathbed, your age, who would love to be in your shoes. And I was thumbing around on Twitter one day and I saw that, and it just really stuck with me. I thought about it a lot for a number of days.
So be aware that you take it. Be happy with what you have. You may not realize how fortunate.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And so, like I said, I'll be 38 next week, and so, I actually started to pay attention to the obituaries more a couple months back.
Journal Star appreciates
that. Of course, yeah. But yeah, there were a lot of.
I work obits tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I started paying attention to more of them, and it made me realize there are a lot of people my age and younger that are passing away just around here on a regular basis, and so. Yeah. I guess it's a fancy way of saying just be thankful for what you have, no matter what your situation is, because there's someone else who has it much worse and would look from the outside and say, boy, I would love to be in that guy's shoes.
Now, when you write a book like this, and obviously you put a lot of time and thought into it, what's your next move? I mean, Are you going to promote this book, or I mean, you going to go on tour, or what do you got planned?
Well, I don't know about a tour. There might be a Peoria tour, per se, but no, it's one of the reasons I'm here. Is I just kind of want to get the word out and let folks know that it's there, and I guess the core, among other reasons, one of the reasons I wrote it is that I feel there's a lot of negativity in the world. You know, it's I almost feel like as a society, our default is negativity. You know, I mean, there's a lot of negativity on TV, on the news, and the radio. Just a lot of people in general I come across seem to be fairly negative.
Well, I mean, you make a good point there, because I'm thinking, and of course we cover this in the paper, so we're probably writing about it all the time. But Peoria, you know, we lost Caterpillar headquarters.
Yeah.
We got problems with the budget. We got populations declining. Some of this is related to the state, and you know, it's a wider problem than just Peoria. But you do sort of sense that there is a negative vibe sometimes, that people are all too willing to, you know, oh, you know, yeah, this is. How do you counter that?
Yeah, well, that's
without seeming like, oh, it's wonderful, everything's lovely.
You know, and I'm not naive. Life can get hard. Things are difficult. I'm not, you know, I'm not happy every moment of every day. It's just like everybody else. I go through good times and bad times and struggles and happy times. And part of the reason I wrote this was to get a good positive message out there. Just because I feel like the ratio of negativity to positivity leans heavily to the negativity side.
Right.
Just in general. But yeah, I wanted to get a more positive message out there.
You know, and not to only look at one thing, but that negativity sometimes I think comes out, or it's been raised in the past, on the internet.
Yeah.
Because if you state, you know, well, you don't have to really come up with almost anything, but let's say it's sports, or you name the celebrity, whatever the subject is, and then you reach the comments. Those can be pretty harsh, and it seems like people are very worked up about some of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Almost to the point that, you know, it's like there's a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
About whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the, you know, if you're not really emotional, you can't make a point.
Yeah.
And that's so your book may be kind of trying to say, you know, hey, take a time to appreciate some of what's around here instead of that.
I mean, if you know, there's a lot to be grateful for. You know, there's a part in the book too towards the end where there's a self-help author that I'm real familiar with her work. Jen Sincero is her last name, and she talks about how
Sincero.
Yeah, I believe. I'm not sure the spelling on that, but
is that a real name?
Yeah, I couldn't have made it up. But so she, you know, she talks about being grateful even for your debt, and so that was interesting to me because, you know, as a financial planner, debt equals bad, you know, generally speaking, and so. When I was reading her book, or she's got two, I was reading one of them. You know, she had a whole chapter about how you should be thankful for your debt, because what that meant was that you needed money for something, whatever it was, and it was there for you. And so I was just kind of like, well, all right, that's a good way to put it. I've never thought of it that way, and it's different, you know. And so that's what I mean is by living, I try to live in a state of gratitude, because I don't have the perfect life. I don't know if anybody does. But, you know, I've got a lot to be thankful for, just like I think a lot of people listening to this probably do as well.
I can see a court case where the judge slams down the gavel, says, that'll be a $10,000 fine, be thankful for your debt. Next.
Yeah, exactly.
And the guy going, oh, okay, Your Honor, and rushing out. You know, let's talk about a little bit of the financial planning side. How long have you been doing that in Peoria?
Yeah, about the Peoria-area, about 12 years now. So
is that a competitive field?
Very, yeah.
You got a lot of folks doing what you're doing.
Yep.
So do you guys have niches like? Well, I know you want to work with people who have money. Yeah, that's part of it. But do you have like some that will go for young people, some that go for, you know, women, or how does that work out? Yeah,
so I guess yes to all of that. There's a lot of competition, but there's a wide array of competition. So you've got, you know, the big name wirehouse firms is what we call them. There's a lot of independent folks out there too. Independent folks like me that you're probably not familiar with. But there's also, you know, a lot of insurance agents will do, you know, financial.
Because that whole field is broadened in
it's
recent
very
years.
Broadened, yeah. So. You know, you can there are certain investments that someone without a license can sell. So there's a lot of people under the financial advisor banner, if you will.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of competition.
A lot of products.
Correct. A lot of products as well.
So how do you as an independent compete?
Yeah, it's a good question. So what I do or basically, I guess when I first started was I went out and knocked on doors out in the Peoria-area is kind of where I started.
Call.
Yeah. And then I also did it in the North Peoria-area as well, where my office is at currently. Yeah, that's how, I guess, one of the ways.
Did that work?
Yeah, it actually does. It's not the most fun thing in the world to do, especially when it's 95.
Most people think you're either a politician running for office or
Jehovah's
selling
Witness.
cable TV, Jehovah's Witness. Yeah.
But no, 90. It's kind of surprised. I was surprised. 97% of the people I would guess I ran into were very nice. Just thanks, no thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Drop me on a newsletter list or whatever. So that's one way I guess that I compete or go out and get clients is for that. I guess that's probably the major function. I do a lot of blogging. I write a lot of articles.
That's reaching people where they are. And this, Rocky and I didn't talk about this in advance, so it's unfair to throw this at you, but I will.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that people need to be aware of with finances that perhaps you find out that most people are either overlooking or just ignoring? Are there some?
Yeah.
Come through?
So I would say the first thing is, especially this year, we have a brand new tax system, right? Whole new tax thing. I've found a lot of folks don't fully understand how that's going to impact them going forward. So that's one thing I've really tried to cover with a lot of folks is, what your tax situation is going to look like in 2018 and beyond versus last year.
Because it's changed.
Because it's changed a lot. Yep. The other thing, and I'm even guilty of this myself sometimes, is not being aware of how much you spend on a monthly basis or a daily basis. It's kind of like calorie counting. You think, I probably consume 2,000 calories a day. And if you track it for a while, you might notice that it's actually like 2,700 or more. You just don't know. It's the same with budgeting is, we spend $100 a week on groceries or 50, whatever it is. It's usually grossly more than that. So budgeting's one thing, just knowing how much you spend on a daily, monthly basis.
And I would think, given today now people using cards so much, that one time, you carried cash in your pocket and hey, when the wallet got a little thin, you knew you reached your limit or something. That's really not the case anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you just slide the thing through and plug it in.
I kind of hate to admit I rarely have cash.
No. And as a result, you don't know sometimes how much you are spending, or it adds up to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, given the fact that the world's changing and all that, we've got all kinds of tax situations in Peoria: sales tax, income tax, property tax, which can be oppressive to many people. Is this all taken into account when you do what you do for your clients?
It depends on the person, but generally, yes. I mean, I strive to get into every aspect of a client's financial life if they'll let me, if that's what they would like to do. Some folks don't want all of that, and that's totally fine. Some folks just want investment management or some budgeting or some projections as far as spending goes or things like that. But yeah, that's what I strive to do, is to really get to know everything about everyone's financial situation that I can.
Now, you talk about blogging, and I'm thinking, there's so much information out there now, given the internet and probably many books that one can find if you go looking for them. Is that helpful, or can people hurt themselves sometimes by following something that maybe they shouldn't be following? That's
a good question. A little bit of both. Not everything's true on the internet. And so, you could. I would hesitate to recommend someone read a blog and then follow what it says and go implement that sort of financial strategy. That could be scary depending on who it's written from. But there are plenty of articles that are well researched and totally accurate. How do you know which one's which if you're a retail investor just doing a search for capital gains taxes? It's hard to differentiate that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend someone go and read a blog post and just say I'm going to go ahead and do that. That sounds good.
Yeah, and of course there's TV is loaded with financial help channels and things of that sort. Now, getting back to your book, when we were talking with Rockie Zeigler, who's just written 28 Things. Life lessons from a guy who's nearly over the hill, and we've already given him a hard time about that because he's way too young to be saying that, but that's okay. Forward by world record-holding marathon runner Brian Locke. Are you friends with Brian?
He lives next door.
And he's a world record-holding marathon runner.
Yeah.
Right here in Peoria.
So I don't know if you recall. So the Whiskey Daddle races are coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Go right through my neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay. I'm actually going to run it. So
really?
I'll see you. Yeah.
I'll be looking for you. We'll throw the whiskey bottle out. No, we won't do that.
Just look for the guy running about the 12-minute pace in the back of the pack there. That'll be me. But no, so yeah, Brian lives next door.
Okay.
He's a really, really good marathon runner, just runner in general. But I believe he just qualified for the Boston Marathon here a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So part of nearing this over the hill thing was I decided, I'm going to run a marathon. This is back in June, and so I maybe run a handful of times previous to that this year. I don't like running, so it's been difficult.
So you don't like running, but you're going to run a marathon.
Yeah. So I'm in this let's accomplish some wild, crazy things mode in life. But
is that number 26 or 27? Run a marathon.
I don't know if that one's in there.
No,
okay. No, Brian was great. So he came up with a plan for me for all this running. But last year at the Whiskey Daddle, he ran the full marathon while kicking a soccer ball.
Wow!
And that's what he's a former soccer player from Bradley.
Oh.
And so he grew up in Dunlap, went to Bradley, played soccer there, and was good. Started doing all this running. I've only known him for about 2.5 years, but yeah. So I don't know what his time was. I don't recall, but he beat it by like a handful of seconds. So it was close. So he ran 26.2 miles kicking a soccer ball.
I was going to say that makes the person that wheezed and kind of groaned and got to the finish line only to find out that this guy beat him by 10 minutes who was kicking a soccer ball at the same time.
I mean, it's kind of depressing, but it'll probably take me twice as long to just run it than he did kicking a soccer ball the whole time. So
what's he going to do this year? Has he got anything planned?
I was talking to him the other day. I think he's going to run maybe the half, I want to say, or something.
So this time, what, a billiard ball on his nose?
Well, so for him, like the half's like, that'll be fun. I'll run a half marathon. He's not like most people in that regard. But no, well, I asked him to write the foreword because him and I would a lot of times share, I just saw this really good motivational video on YouTube. We'd kind of share those back and forth. And so he enjoys that sort of thing as well. So I thought, it'd be nice to have him, a Guinness Book of World Record holder, write the foreword and bring some more positivity to it. So
very good. Well, very good. Well, Rocky, hey, the book's on Amazon. It's 28 Things, Life Lessons from a Guy Who's Nearly Over the Hill. And you've got what plans for a follow-up, or is that undecided on your part?
I've got a few ideas. There'll definitely be more books coming. I've got a few ideas.
Well, you got those 10 that didn't get in here.
That's true. I guess
so you need to give them
like an updated, So
the 10 they didn't let me put in my first book.
Yeah.
But no, so 28 things, and these are we should add. This isn't a financial planning book.
Nothing about it. Nope.
Because when to play the market or whatever that is, that's for another time. This is just about living life and enjoying life and trying to get through it all.
Yep.
I guess is probably the best way.
Yep.
And I think it's great that you took the time to do this. And how much time do you think you invested in this project?
I started, I want to say, in April, maybe March or April. It took me a good about 3 months to write it. And it was all in my spare time. I've got 4 young kids. It was after they went to bed kind of thing. I'd go to Starbucks. I'd go to the Last Chance.
Are there any parts in here about kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the second section's all about parenting ideas and things like that.
Well, that's where people are really going to sort of benefit.
Yeah.
We all need help there.
Well, me included. So
very good. Well, thanks again, Rocky. We appreciate it. And urge people to find out what those 28 things are. And I want to thank Matt Dayhoff, who puts this thing out and brings it to you on Facebook and all this other stuff. Thanks again, Rocky.
Great. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time on Tarter Sauce.